Coach Tuberville, Senator from Alabama, thanks so much for joining us today. Biden just made remarks about you during a press conference overseas in Helsinki. He said, "I'd be willing to talk to him if I thought there's any possibility of him changing his ridiculous position he has. He's jeopardizing U.S. security by what he's doing. I expect the Republican Party to stand up and do something about it." What is your response to his remarks?
Well, first of all, this is not just about Republicans. This is about Democrats, independents. This is about citizens all over the country, about going by the Constitution here in Washington, D.C. You know, we've got a White House and a Pentagon that is trying to legislate their own laws. And we're not going to allow them to do that. And that, this is about abortion to a certain degree, but it's also about going by the rule of law. And they changed a policy that was voted on the Senate floor. Biden himself voted for it, made a policy about abortion in the military, hadn't changed since 35, 40 years. And so now they're going to change it with a memo. And that's not going to happen. And I told them that. And I hate what I'm having to do for promotions with generals and admirals. But again, he can call me all the names he wants. Does that sound like anybody that wants to get anything done? I mean, that's what this place is about. It's about working with each other, talking it out, getting in situations where you can maybe compromise to a point. I mean, there's a guy that doesn't even want to talk. He needs to negotiate all over the world. We got a war going on in Ukraine right now. That if he would have got out there and negotiated, or maybe even after the war started, negotiate with both groups, we can get this thing over. People are getting killed, but it seems like this White House has no negotiating skills whatsoever.
Just to be clear, you reached out to the DOD in a letter. And again, in December, you reached out to the Defense Department and gave them sort of a warning. If they went ahead and put this policy in place, you opposed them doing this. You opposed them doing this by, memo, as you said, and not actually legislating this, making this into law, which you've said, you'd abide by if it were law. So, and they haven't once reached out to you throughout this whole entire period. This was last February that you first reached out to them.
Well, let's set this up. It's been a year. We heard after Roe Wade came down and kicked it back to the states, which it should have done. The Supreme Court said, let's just get the courts and the politicians out of this. Let's let the people vote on it in each state. And it's working great. So when that happened, though, the Biden administration, who's very pro-choice, they said, okay, we can't handle the states, but we can handle the federal employees. So they've got into the VA, which never has had abortion before. Now they're doing them in the VA. We tried to block that. I lost a vote. Then they wanted to change the military, and we heard they were going to change it, and we kept asking for a brief. We finally got a briefing in November, and they told us what they were getting ready to do. And I said, wait a minute. I mean, you can't do that. You can't change it by memo. You have to go through Congress. We got elected. You voted this in 84, 85, and now you're going to change it by memo. That's not going to happen. And so I wrote a letter in December to Secretary Austin saying, listen, don't do this. Let's work this out. If you do it, I'm going to put a hold on all your generals and admirals. That's the only power you have as a senator when you're in a minority. And so I thought we would work it out. 2 months later, they throw it out there, no conversation. They started the policy. I put the hold on. A few days later, I talked with Secretary Austin for about 10 minutes. He asked me if I'd take the holds off. I said no. Hadn't talked to him since. It's been, 5 months? Now we're to this point. Now all of a sudden they're panicking. Now, listen, I'm not trying to be hard-headed about this. And I'm not trying to make a point. I'm trying to stay by the Constitution. They're wanting me to do something when they're the ones that changed the law. And it's their prerogative to do what they want. But it's not lawful right now. They broke the law and they changed it with a memo. And here's how we're going to work this out if they want to work it out. Change the policy back the way it was. And then send us a bill over here and let us vote on it. And if it passes, and they can do what they want. If it doesn't pass, we stay with the old policy. That's how you do it in Washington, D.C. But these people want to dictate instead of legislate, and let us do it the proper way, and let the representatives of the people across the country have a vote on this. This is not Joe Biden's America. This is the American people's America.
And they say you're jeopardizing national security by holding up, 250 general officer nominations. But in fact, those officers can still be confirmed, just not on a blanket basis. So you're not exactly holding up any one particular general from being confirmed.
We vote on judges every day. We vote on nominees for cabinet positions. I've got a hold on all of them at one time. I mean, that's all I hear. He's holding this up. No, they're the ones holding it up. Chuck Schumer needs to do his job, but he's not doing his job. They know that if they even tried to adjust this, they will lose. Okay, they will lose on the Senate floor. They can keep calling me all the names they want. But again, just calling me names and saying, hey, he's not going to change his mind, they're exactly right. They're exactly right. Now, we might come to a compromise if we'd ever sit down, but of course that hasn't happened. But we'll keep on with doing what we're doing. That's my prerogative as a United States Senator. I was elected by the people of this country.
So what might a compromise look like? What could they do to show you that they're willing to talk to you in good faith?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you got to sit down and visit. You just heard what he said from halfway around the world, that he's not willing to compromise. He's not going to change. Well, how the heck does he know? I mean, he's over in Helsinki when he needs to be over here protecting our border, cutting back on crime, getting inflation right. We're more worried about people in other countries than we are the people of this country. And I think the people, Democrat and Republicans, are getting sick of it. Our country's falling apart at the seams, and we're worried about NATO and other countries. And fine, that's a problem, but we got a lot of problems here at home, and this is one of them. And so get back here and do your business here, and pay attention to the American people and the people that actually pay the taxes that you're spending on over there in Ukraine and some of these other countries.